that right? Sarath, you don't work for a salary? I thought you had. Oh, you work for a salary, okay. Sarath is the group director in charge for Capsule, which is a Canadian company. A man with great experience in the field. And him being there motivates me. Everyone is paid a salary. Now you call it a salary, but I like to call it an investment that the company is making in you. Now, when a company makes an investment, it is always related to time and the return on that investment. But in the case of human beings being invested upon, you have unclosed or open-end investment capacity to receive investment. So the company invests in you, which you call salary. Now, I don't know how many companies at the end of 6 months or end of 12 months check to see the ROI on what they have paid you as gross salary for the whole year. What have you brought back to the company? I don't know how many companies do that. Now, the sad news is, in the event your return is far less than anticipated, but yet the company invested in you, which you call salary, the company does two more things which I cannot explain, I don't understand. They pay you a 2-month bonus. Now that is an investment they make in you without expecting return. For me, I don't understand why company CEOs do this. Then on top of that investment, they invest in you throughout the year, several times, either local or overseas, training. And the only thing that is asked, most of the time what's asked by you, is come back and make a presentation to the rest of them, others in your team, what you learned. But it doesn't mean you're going to get net contribution from that person to the company. There's no guarantee for that. You may present it. Right? All of us are, in some way we follow our faiths. A Christian follows Christianity, Buddhist follows Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, all that. What have you contributed to society? Why is society this, what you call Soda Malu, is happening by the minute? Lack of contribution. Enhancement of knowledge, lack of application of knowledge in the sharp end of the business. So, to measure the human capital enhancement, one has to measure the ROI of what is paid out to the individual. And if the individual brings back value into the business, it doesn't have to be always money, because people who are in channel business, who are looking after direct revenue, it's easy to interpret the value they add because it's the numbers they bring in, the top line. But for those who are in support services, who are not directly linked to the bringing of the revenue, their value can also be checked by speed of output, the quality of the footprint you leave on every output that comes out from your department. It carries your footprint as well. Then reduction of process time in what you're doing. You found a better way of reducing process time. All processes are costs. All processes are cost because it's run in time frames, and time is a cost. And process engages people in the process. Process doesn't run without people. So it's a cost. So one of the things that is happening, like Dr. Jiva says, is conversion to AI. You reduce process cost. But until that happens, you have to contribute in a way, a value back into the business. And that value should be tracked at different levels of the hierarchy, which can be interpreted into quantitative terms of rupees and cents. And that is the way you track the net contributions and the growth potentials of the human capital enhancement back into the organization, and through giving it back to the organization, you also give it to society. So whatever value you bring into the organization has a spillage into society. You're giving society a better standard of living by what you do. You're giving society a better choice. You're giving society a better standard of living and more knowledgeable community. Like what happened an investment to Pannala and Pannala developed. So it's something like that. So we have to measure when you pay a salary, you have to measure. And when you start measuring, you'll realize that a job that can be done by 3 people, you will not have a cadre of 8 people doing it, like is the practice today. And if you have that, the danger is this. You're forcing inefficiency into the department. If 5 people can run in the department, but you have 10 people, you have to distribute the 5 key jobs among 10 job descriptions. So the people who have more capacity to do are only doing 50%. And if they do more than that, they're trampling somebody else's toes. So what are you doing? You're establishing inefficiency in the organization. So if you go to ROI, a financial interpretation of the investment they make in you, you'll be very careful to check what more value, by adding 1 more person, what more value will it give marginally over what we already enjoy.
Thank you, Doctor. So focus on productivity, focus on results. Now my next question is for 3 of the panelists here today, and then we're going to open up the Q&A. But before that also, Dr. Jeev, I'm going to come to you before we close. Moving on, the next question is to Dr. Nirmal, Mr. Rajapaksa, and Mr. Bandaranaike. My question is this to the 3 of you. What should be, in your opinion, the business and financial acumen knowledge required for a HR business partner to be valued and accepted by the management? We've sort of overlapped a little bit here and there, but any other thoughts?
Right. So I think before we get into that, even within this room, I think there are 3 types of individuals. People who are quite happy with your job and feel that this is an area that I'll probably retire with. So that's one type. The second type of people, I'm somewhat happy with my job, but if somebody comes and knocks the door and gives me this wonderful offer, I'm going to go tomorrow. The third set of people, I'm just waiting to go tomorrow if there's an offer. There's only one of 3 types. Now, depending on which side of the equation you are, the answer is going to be different. Because if you're happy with it, you become complacent. You're not going to challenge yourself. You're not going to be worried about financial acumen and all of that. Only if somebody pushes you, you'll probably try to get in a bit of information, but it's business as usual. You are a fixed asset within the organization. Even if the company gets sold, hopefully you'll also be valued and sold because you're a fixed asset. So the next set of people know that at times if they don't get opportunity, they need to upskill themselves. So maybe you might go into some YouTube tutorials, maybe go for a finance for non-finance manager course by your initiative, paying by yourself for the very first time for some training course, because you are now trying to seek for greener pastures. All this time you are waiting until the company decided which training program you need to attend to. But you are in the learning and development department as well within your own organization. So you wait till somebody pays for your training. The third set of people is waiting for any opportunity to move out. So they'll be a little bit more proactive. They know nothing will come on a platter. Now, business owners, entrepreneurs, or C-level people need to understand this brutal reality. It's not only about engaging people and getting them to retain, it's also getting them to ensure that they add more value to the organization. I think we talked about it in multiple aspects, and we also see the future work processes and trends changing. So if we are to get the best out of it, yes, you need to understand how the business runs, the importance of rupees and cents. Still, when we speak to a lot of people within organizations, they still feel that the profit and loss account and the balance sheet are the 2 most important things in the organization. If you look at the current situation in the country, it's actually the cash flow management component which is becoming the biggest issue. And at a SME level, it's even more tougher. So, how many of y'all really understand how a cash flow works? Or do you just know what the profit and loss and the balance sheet is? How many of you all work in a public quoted company in the HR